Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources you send our way and really try to unpack them, find those surprising connections.
And today's source definitely has a surprising connection baked right in.
Yeah, it starts with Veterans Day, a time for reflection, gratitude, but then it takes this unexpected turn towards music, specifically learning an instrument.
Exactly. It's quite a setup. We've
Yeah.
got this piece reflecting on national service, sacrifice, the weight of Veterans Day, and then almost immediately it pivots to talking about picking up a guitar or piano.
It really grabs your attention. The big question for this deep dive is why? Why does this source draw such a direct line from honoring veterans to, say, music lessons?
That's what we need to unpack. It seems the source uses Veterans Day to establish certain core values, service, unity, things like that. And then it presents music as almost a parallel way to practice or embody those same values.
Okay, let's dig into that. So the source explicitly says Veterans Day is more than a date on the calendar. How does it initially frame the day? What's the foundation it builds?
Well, it starts predictably enough. It emphasizes honoring the men and women who served. It's about remembrance, gratitude.
Right, the expected themes.
Exactly. But it quickly focuses on specific qualities: courage, dedication, and sacrifice. It holds these up as the defining attributes of those who served. These aren't just abstract words. They're presented as action-oriented virtues.
Courage, dedication, sacrifice. Okay, so those are the individual qualities. But then you mentioned it broadens out to national values.
Yes, that's the crucial next step in the argument. It says the day should remind us, the nation, of three core values derived from that service:
Which are?
service, unity, and perseverance. And what's interesting, I think, is how directly it links these national ideals back to the military experience. It's not just saying these are good ideas. It's saying, look at military service. That's what these look like in practice.
Okay. So service as a value isn't just helping out. It's framed as this fundamental commitment to the collective, maybe even above personal comfort.
That seems to be the implication. And unity isn't just getting along. It's presented as this highly coordinated, almost essential synchronization needed for a common, often critical goal, like in military operations.
And perseverance, that one really lands differently in a military context. It's not just sticking with a tough project.
No, definitely not. The source implies it's about enduring extreme hardship, physical and mental stress over long periods. It's commitment under duress. The text really uses the military example to set a very high bar for what these values mean.
Okay, so the stage is set with these really high-stakes definitions. Then comes the pivot. The source is from Granby Music, right? So how did they make the jump?
It's remarkably direct. They state, quite plainly, music like service connects people. That's the hinge right there.
Wow. Okay, like service. That's a strong comparison.
It is, and it immediately forces you, the listener, to think, okay, how? How can strumming a guitar be like facing combat or deploying overseas in terms of connection?
Yeah, that's the immediate tension, isn't it? Does comparing learning an instrument to the scale of military sacrifice somehow diminish the sacrifice? How does the source handle that? Because it feels potentially controversial.
That's the core of the deep dive, really.
Yeah.
The source doesn't seem to be saying the experiences are the same or the stakes are the same. Not at all.
Okay.
Instead, it seems to argue that the underlying principles or the human needs being met are related. It's suggesting parallel paths.
Parallel paths. Explain that a bit more.
We'll take perseverance again. In the military context, it's about mission focus under fire,
Yeah.
right? The source seems to suggest that the perseverance needed to, say, master a difficult piece of music, practicing it over and over, pushing through frustration, taps into a similar kind of internal discipline.
Ah, I see. So one is perseverance for protection, maybe, and the other is perseverance for creation or expression. But both require that grit, that refusal to quit.
Exactly. Or think about unity. Military unity needs structure, orders, synchronized action. Music, especially playing with others, requires listening, responding, synchronizing. It's a different kind of unity, but it's still about collaboration towards a shared goal, creating harmony.
So the source lists specific benefits of music, right? How do those map onto the service values?
It says music builds community, fosters understanding, and gives voice to gratitude. You can almost see those as the civilian or maybe the peacetime application of service unity, and maybe even expressing that sacrifice.
Building community through music, that feels like a less rigid, maybe more organic form of unity than the military example.
Right. And fostering understanding music can bridge gaps, communicate emotions where words fail. It's a different kind of connection, built through shared experience rather than shared duty, perhaps.
And it gives voice to gratitude. That ties back directly to the Veterans Day theme.
Precisely. It positions music as this positive, constructive way to achieve the kind of shared experience and connection that service also provides. Maybe recognizes that after intense service, people still need that connection, but perhaps channeled differently, towards creation, not defense.
And the source makes a point that it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or experienced, right? It mentions learning an instrument for the first time or returning to a lifelong passion.
Yeah, that's important. It emphasizes participation itself. The act of engaging, of committing to learn or play, is where the value lies, mirroring how the act of serving is valued. It makes contributing to this kind of community accessible. You don't need to be a virtuoso.
Okay, so this whole philosophical argument, music as a parallel path to service values, it's not just an abstract idea in the text. It leads to something concrete from Granby music.
Correct. The philosophy underpins their action. They mention offering a discount specifically for veterans and active military members.
Ah, the practical application.
Right. And they frame it explicitly as our small way of saying thank you, which, loops back perfectly to that idea of music giving voice to gratitude. It completes the circle.
Let's focus less on the discount itself and more on why they're offering music as the thank you. What does the source say music can actually do for the veterans who take up the offer? What are the goals here?
This is maybe the most resonant part. The text states the purpose is to help veterans find three specific things through music: peace, expression, and joy.
Peace, expression, and joy. Wow. That's quite a contrast to the initial words: courage, dedication, sacrifice.
It really is. And it feels intentional. If service demands sacrificing personal peace, maybe even joy for a larger mission, then the source seems to present music as a way to actively cultivate those feelings again. It's almost therapeutic.
So learning an instrument isn't just a pastime. It's positioned as a tool for psychological well-being, a way to find peace through the discipline music requires.
That seems to be the argument. It's like channeling that ingrained discipline, that perseverance, into something personally restorative. And the expression part is key, too.
How so?
Well, military service often involves controlling emotions, maintaining composure, maybe not speaking about difficult experiences. Music offers a non-verbal language, a way to process or express things that might be hard to put into words.
That makes a lot of sense. It completes that arc from sacrifice and service to gratitude, understanding, and then personal peace and expression.
Yeah, and the source reinforces the connection with its hashtags, hashtag Veterans Day, hashtag Granby Music, hashtag Thank You Veterans. It keeps the message tightly focused, gratitude expressed through the opportunity for musical engagement.
It's actually a very sophisticated argument when you break it down, taking a commercial offer and grounding it in these deep values.
It really elevates it beyond just a simple promotion. It becomes a statement about how those core service values can and maybe should find expression in civilian life, particularly through the arts.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive up for you, the listener. What we've seen is a source that starts with Veterans Day, defining it through the lens of courage, dedication, sacrifice, and the resulting national values of service, unity, and perseverance.
Right. Then it makes that bold leap, arguing that music acts like service by connecting people, building community, fostering understanding, and allowing for gratitude.
And it presents musical participation learning, playing as a way for veterans specifically to find peace, expression, and joy, channeling the discipline of service into personal restoration.
The big takeaway is really that comparison, positioning the arts, specifically music, not just as entertainment, but as a vital tool for cultivating the very values and connections that underpin national service and community health.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, stemming from this source. If dedicated effort in something like learning music, fostering harmony, requiring perseverance, building community is framed as being fundamentally like national service, well, what does that say about our everyday commitments? Could it be that our smaller, consistent efforts to connect, to understand each other, to persevere through challenges in our own communities? Maybe those acts contribute more fundamentally to national unity and strength than we typically acknowledge. Are these everyday acts of connection a form of service in themselves?
That's definitely something to think about. A powerful idea connecting sacrifice, service, and the simple act of making music together.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.